Today, we're going to dive into one of the most fundamental processes of the human body, the menstrual cycle. I know it's a topic that can sometimes feel confusing or surrounded by myths, but we're going to cut right through all that and get straight to the science of what's really going on.
And let's just get one thing straight right from the jump. This is a completely normal, totally healthy biological process. There's zero reason for it to be embarrassing or awkward. It's just science, and honestly, understanding it is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself.
So let's start with the big picture, right? Before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, what even is the menstrual cycle?
At its heart, it's a series of changes your body goes through every single month. And the whole point? It's all designed to prepare the body for a potential pregnancy. You can think of it as your body's own natural internal rhythm. Now, you've probably heard the number 28 days thrown around a lot. And yeah, that's a pretty common average. But, and this is a big but, it's not a strict rule. A healthy cycle can be anywhere from 21 to 35 days. And especially during the teen years, a little unpredictability is completely normal.
Okay, so the cycle isn't just one single event that happens. It's much more like a story with 4 distinct chapters, a journey that your body takes through 4 main phases, and each one has its own super important job to do. So here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through menstruation, then the follicular phase, then the main event, ovulation, and we'll finish up with the luteal phase. Let's get started with the one that everyone's most familiar with.
First up, we have menstruation, which most of us just call the period. This is what officially kicks off day 1 of the whole cycle, and it starts when a pregnancy didn't happen in the previous cycle. So what's actually going on in there? Well, that special cushy lining your body built up inside the uterus, it's called the endometrium, is no longer needed. So it breaks down and exits the body as blood. And you know those cramps some people get? That's just the uterine muscles tightening up to help push that lining out. This whole process usually lasts somewhere between 3 and 7 days. And it's not just a physical thing. The hormone levels in your body take a sharp dive during this time, which is exactly why you might feel more tired or notice your mood shifting a bit.
All right, next up is the follicular phase. And here's a pretty cool detail. This phase actually starts on day 1 of your period. It overlaps with menstruation. So even while one process is ending, your body is already jumping into the rebuilding and preparing stage for the next cycle.
Think of it like this. Your brain sends out a get ready signal. That's a hormone called FSH. It tells your ovaries, hey, let's get a few eggs ready to go. Usually one of those eggs becomes the main contender and starts to mature. At the same time, another hormone, estrogen, starts rising, telling the uterus, okay, time to rebuild that lining. And all of this preparation leads us to the main event of the entire cycle, ovulation. It's a really brief moment, but it is absolutely crucial. It happens right around the middle of the cycle.
So what's the trigger? A huge surge of another hormone called LH. That surge is basically the green light. It signals the ovary to release that mature egg. The egg then pops out and begins its trip into the fallopian tube, and that is the specific window of time when a pregnancy can actually start.
And get this, some people can actually feel this happening. You might notice a little twinge on one side of your lower belly, maybe you'll feel a sudden boost of energy, or you might see some changes in vaginal discharge. All of those are totally normal signs that ovulation is happening. So, after the egg has been released, we enter the final 2-week stretch of the cycle. This is called the luteal phase. You can pretty much think of this as the waiting period. At this point, the body gets to a fork in the road, and there are 2 possible paths. If the egg isn't fertilized, your hormone levels drop. That's the signal for the uterine lining to start breaking down, which can also trigger PMS symptoms. And then, boom, the cycle starts all over again. But if the egg is fertilized, that lining stays right where it is, creating a safe, nourishing home for a potential pregnancy. Okay, now let's talk about a really big question that a lot of people have. What does a normal cycle even look like? Well, the short answer is, it really, really varies. The main thing to remember is that normal is a super wide range, having periods that last anywhere from 3 to 7 days, having cycles that aren't perfectly predictable, getting some cramps, having a flow that changes from light to heavy. All of this is considered perfectly normal, especially in the first few years after you start your period. Knowing the science is one thing, right? But actually managing your cycle comfortably is another. So let's switch gears for a second and go over some really practical self-care tips. First up, hygiene. It sounds basic, but it's important.
Use whatever product feels best for you. Pads, tampons, cups, period underwear, you name it. The really important part is just to change them regularly. For pads, that means about every 4 to 6 hours. And otherwise, just keep up with your usual daily hygiene routine.
And for anyone who uses tampons, this is a critical health reminder. To stay safe and avoid any risk of infection, you have to change them every 4 to 8 hours. No exceptions. It's super important.
And for dealing with any discomfort, staying hydrated and getting some gentle movement can work wonders for cramps. Seriously, a heating pad can also be your best friend. And please remember, if your periods are ever super painful or really irregular, it is always a good idea to talk to a trusted adult or a doctor about it.
So we've covered the what and the how, but let's wrap this all up with the most important part. Why does any of this actually matter? Why is it important to know? Understanding your cycle is like having a superpower, for real. It gives you the power to know your own body, to manage your symptoms better, to be a more supportive and understanding friend, and, this is a big one, to recognize when something might be off and it's time to ask for help. It really just boils down to this. Knowledge isn't just power, it's confidence. The more you understand these natural things your body does, the more comfortable and in control you're going to feel. It's that simple. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you have this kind of blueprint for the menstrual cycle, how can you use this knowledge to feel more empowered in your own life? Thanks so much for watching.